Hey kids, super excited about today's Clubhouse Kids class and gonna be learning a new verse with our puppets and gonna be learning a new Bible story and very excited about all of it. But we're gonna be singing a song today, the song Behold Our God, and it just talks about how great our God is. That he's not just something small, he's not just someone maybe like any one of us, but God is unique, he's special, and he's grand. So let's sing about him and on the song Behold Our God. Who has held the oceans in his hands? Who has numbered every grain of sand? Kings and nations tremble at his voice. All creation rises to rejoice. Behold our God, seated on his throne. Come, let us adore him. Behold our King, nothing can compare. Come, let us adore him. Next, who has given counsel to the Lord? Who has given counsel to the Lord? Who can question any of his words? Who can teach the one who knows all things? Who can fathom all his wondrous deeds? Behold our God, seated on his throne. Come, let us adore him. Behold our King, nothing can compare. Come, let us adore him. And then on this last, who has felt the nails upon his hands? Who has felt the nails upon his hands, bearing all the guilt of sinful man? God eternal, humbled to the grave, Jesus Savior, risen now to reign. Behold our God, seated on his throne. Come, let us adore him. Behold our King, nothing can compare. Come, let us adore him. Well, I hope that you are loving God and obeying and following him, and hope you have a great rest of kids class.
Hey kids, today we're going to be learning Romans 5:8. And to help me with the verse today, I've enlisted the help of my friend, Buck.
Hey Chip,
How you doing today, Buck?
I'm doing good. Hi kids.
You're doing pretty good today.
Awesome.
Alright, well, let's start off learning this verse, alright?
Okay.
Romans 5:8. But God commended his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Good job, Buck.
Why, thank you.
Tell you what, why don't we learn this verse line by line?
Okay, what does that mean?
Alright, so I'll say the first line, Romans 5:8. And then you say the next line up till the word love.
Okay.
Alright, so let's do this. Romans 5:8.
But God commended his love
Toward us, in that while we were...
yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Great job, Buck.
Why, thank you.
Want to switch to lines now?
swap lines?
Yep, so you start off and then I'll do the second and the fourth line.
Okay. Alright, ready, kids? Romans 5:8.
But God commendeth his love
Toward us, in that while we were
yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Oops, I said one extra word.
That's alright, Buck. We'll forgive ya. Alright, now let's do this. Let's go 2 lines at a time.
Okay.
Alright, so you start off.
Romans 5:8. But God commended his love
Toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Wow. What does that word commendeth mean?
Commendeth just means to adorn, to splendify, to make beautiful. So God made his love beautiful by dying for us.
Okay, very cool.
Very cool indeed. Want to say the verse? See who can say the verse faster, Buck?
Okay.
Alright, start us off.
I better warn you, I can talk very fast.
I believe it.
Romans 5:8. But God commended his love toward us, and that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Whoa, that was pretty fast. I guess I should give it a try now.
Okay.
Alright, here we go. Romans 5:8, but God commended his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Kids, who do you think said it faster?
If you think it was me, yell real loud.
If you think it was me, yell really loud.
Oh, well, at least I got some votes. Alright. See ya, kids, next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey kids, super excited about today's lesson. Last week we finished learning about Ruth and everything that God did in her life and in her family. And we learned how we can trust God in whatever situation and whatever circumstance we're in. We can trust God. This week we're going to be learning the story of Hannah and Samuel. Now, I like this story because my little sister's name is Hannah and my little brother's name is Samuel. And my parents have always loved this story, and I think you guys will really enjoy it too. The story of Hannah and Samuel starts off with Hannah. Now, see, Hannah was married to a man named Elkanah. And they were married, but Hannah couldn't have any kids. And this made her really sad. During that time, having kids was super important to people. And that was how you kind of showed, oh yeah, I'm a cool person. I have a lot of kids. But since Hannah didn't have any kids, people really looked down on her. And they thought, oh, God doesn't love Hannah because of this. But Hannah knew that God loved her, and so she was praying in the tabernacle. Now we'd go to church. Back in those days, people would go to the tabernacle. That's where they sang songs to God. That's where they worshiped. That's where they heard preaching. That's where they gave money and offerings and things like that. And so Hannah was at the tabernacle, and she was praying really, really hard. And the man of God at that time, the priest, Eli, came up to Hannah and said, hey, God has heard your request and he's going to answer. And so Hannah went back home that day from the tabernacle, and she had faith that God would do exactly what he said he was going to. And sure enough, Hannah gave birth to a baby boy named Samuel. But Hannah made a promise to God. She said, God, since you answered my request, since you heard my prayer and you answered, I'm going to dedicate Samuel that he will serve you all of his life. And so when Samuel was maybe 5 or 6 years old, Hannah took him to the tabernacle and said to Eli the priest, I've dedicated Samuel to the Lord, and he's going to serve the Lord in the tabernacle all of his life. And so Eli took Samuel and they worked together at the tabernacle. Maybe today it would be like at the church. And so Samuel grew up following and obeying God, serving at the church. And we've got some people here at the church that serve. A lot of you guys know Pastor Rob and all of the work that he does with the kids and the teens and all of the different media and making everything look good. He does a lot of work with that. You guys also know Carlos and all of the hard work that he's done. And he does a lot of things with helping us tell other people about Jesus. And he helps out a lot with you guys in kids class. And these are just some of the people at church that that help out in a lot of ways. Samuel did some different things at the tabernacle that were also a help to what God was doing. But Samuel's story, all of that background stuff is cool, but where it really gets started is when he was asleep at night and he heard a voice saying, "Samuel, Samuel." And he woke up and he's there at the tabernacle. There's not like a ton of people that really live there. So he thought, oh, it must be my boss, Eli. So he goes, he walks over into the room where Eli's sleeping, and he wakes him up and says, "Yes, sir, I'm here." And Eli goes, "I didn't call for you. Go back to sleep." So Samuel goes, "Okay, that's weird." Goes back to bed. Again, he hears a whisper, "Samuel, Samuel." So he gets up again and goes, must be Eli. Goes back, talks to Eli. Eli says, "You know what? I bet God's talking to Samuel." He says, "Here's what you're going to do. Go back to bed, and if you hear the voice talking to you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, because your servant hears.'" And so Samuel goes, "Okay, I guess I'll do that." Samuel went back to bed, and again he heard, "Samuel, Samuel." And just like Eli said, Samuel went, "Speak, Lord, for your servant hears." And from that point on, from when Samuel said, "God, I'm going to listen to what you have to say," Samuel lived his whole life being able to hear from God, being able to pray to God, to talk to God, to know what God wanted him to do. But it all started with a choice he made as a kid. Kids, you're not going to follow God in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years if you don't decide, hey, right now, today, in kids class, on a Sunday, maybe if I'm here at the church or if I'm at my house, I'm going to obey whatever God tells me to do. Is that a choice that you've made? If that's not something that you've said, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself, I'm going to commit, I'm going to, every time I hear something from maybe my parents or from the Bible or from a pastor or from one of my teachers, every time I hear something from God, I'm going to obey it. I'm going to do it. If that's not something that you've committed to do, maybe take just a couple of moments, maybe here in class or maybe after class, and just pray to God and say, "Lord, I want to obey whatever you have for me to do." And I hope that'll be an encouragement to you guys from the life of Samuel, that it doesn't just have to be adults, it doesn't just have to be pastors or teachers that follow God, but little kids can follow God, and they always have. See you kids next week, and look forward to having another kids class with you.